If you're a YouTube creator like me, you'll have moments where you realize you are unable to make certain videos, and depending on whether these are the main attraction to your channel, it can greatly impact your viewer retention. I suddenly became sick one weekend, the key symptoms being coughing and the occasional raspy voice, preventing me from making any voiced videos. I was still actively watching other people's videos, of course, and during that time I watched as creators rose to and lost popularity, memes began and died, and trends emerged and faded into obscurity. A lot of these I could overlook as passing fads, but one of these concepts stuck in my head, for it reached me on a personal level. Showing off games you made as a kid. Practically every gamer on the internet is familiar with the idea that making your own games is possible, and there are many ways to do so. One of the most popular approaches is to use a game engine, and while Unity and Unreal were and remain the kings of 3D game development, an underdog named GameMaker was the perfect tool for 2D games, and many people have fond experiences with this engine, including myself. I made 4 releasable games in GameMaker Studio, and in this new series of videos, as if I don't already have tons of series already, I'm going to take you through each of these games and how they were built, in order of when they started development. My first game, blockMania, is an edit of a discarded project from 2010, hence why it is being focused on first. blockMania boasts the features pretty much the same game from 2010. Click blocks and control them with an invisible hand, and that there was no invisible hand in the first place, so we know we're heading into a high quality project. Now I'll pass the video on to a live version of me who can talk and play the game tangibly, unlike myself because I'm merely an audio recording. So this is what blockMania looks like in action. As soon as you open it, you see this screen and it looks horrible, because I started making this in 2010 and only updated it in 2017 so that it would work. I didn't make it any better, I just made it work. So here we have our main options. We have normal game, tutorial, switching screen modes, soundtrack. This is broken. If you try and go here, it will take you to a missing playlist on SoundCloud, and the exit button. Also, I am muting the game audio because it just sounds completely obnoxious and annoying. I might play game audio for future games, but for this game, it's just not worth playing at all. So first we're going to play the tutorial, and it does a very basic it gives you a very basic description of how to play the game. Basically, you have to click on blocks, use the arrow keys to make them reach the goal, and you press space if you accidentally pick up the wrong block, so it will unfreeze. Collisions work like this. If a block touches a frozen block, it will also freeze. Okay, so here's a better example. So if I put the blue, I can put the blue in this pit and it will stay down there and it'll be stuck here. So I can reset, I can put the red one down here. Now the red block here is frozen and the blue one can move on top of it. But frozen blocks aren't bound to these boxes. They can be wherever they want to be. And so you get some very weird results as such. So I'm gonna play the normal game now. And as you can see, there is a score here. It starts at a very precise number, and this is the amount of movement that is detected on your keyboard. So the longer you hold down your keyboard, the more this number ticks down. For example, you can see here it's ticking down very fast when I hold down right. And we also have screen wrapping, which was added as a feature in the newest version of the game. Okay, here is something different. There wasn't a pit here before. It used to have a very tangible end, but sure, let's go ahead and do this. Okay, the game feels a lot better now that I've added these pits in since 2017. I mean, you can still very clearly tell that it was a very primitive attempt at making a game, but it does its job. And now here's where it gets tricky. You see, you won't be able to get a very precise score with this. You can at least try, but it's very likely that you won't get that precise score. Here it's easy. And every 5 levels, the theme of the levels change. With the exception of the very last level, that just changes on its own. Okay, here's an example of a frozen block. You see, it's not going in the box, it's just staying still as soon as it touches the box. And I do use this function to some degree. It would be later. Okay, so it would be here. So Like, you have to get the blue one in before you can touch the red. This one is pretty easy. You just jump across the gap. And I already screwed up my score. I'm not going to get a very good score for this. Okay. So this is here. Because what happens is, if you move the blue block in first, it will get stuck. And the yellow block won't be able to go down because the blue block's in the way. So we push the yellow block down first, then the blue block, and then we do the red one. Okay, here it's the same deal. Blue one needs to go down first. I'll try and get a very precise angle. There we go. And then the red one can jump across. There we go. Here you have to hold right when the red one is falling down. And then finish with the blue and yellow ones. Okay, this one's easy. Blue one goes down in the hole, yellow one goes down in the hole, red one goes down in the hole. Okay, this is the last level. So, I know that I'm not going to get 10,000 because it's practically impossible, but we're going to try and get as close as we can. So now the yellow one, and finally the red one. The trick with the red one here is to just wrap it around. Yeah, as you can see, I'm already underneath. And this is my score. 9,987. As you can see, I can move around on the top here. Now, I'll go through the game again, but this time I'm going to show you specific things that changed, because I do remember a lot changing in the 2017 version. These buttons, there used to be a completely separate options menu, but these buttons were put into the main menu because there was no longer any need for an options menu because the high score function of the previous engine I used to make this game broke. Yes, I started making this game in GameMaker 7 and I put it into GameMaker Studio and had to fix all these bugs because GameMaker 7 functions like a high score table wouldn't work anymore. Alright, so the restart button became transparent. It didn't used to be like that. There wasn't level indicators. It used to actually say in the title bar. Another thing is that the screen is very small if you play in windowed mode. It doesn't look good at all. So nothing really has changed. Again, all of the backgrounds are new, except for the one on the title screen. The title screen background is still exactly the same. Here, nothing really has changed. It's all pretty much identical to what it was before. And there's no consistency between the levels. The blocks fall in however they please. It's not like the positions of the blocks matter. Here's another background that changed. This loop over here didn't used to be there. Same for this loop, even though this is a completely pointless loop. Actually, let's see what happens if I try and go across. Yeah, it stops you. Okay, good. Let's try that again. So I did have an idea of what I was doing when I was editing this game. And that's good to hear. I don't want to move that block. Here we go. Good. Okay. Yes, I'm going to get a worse score here. But for the most part, not much has changed. And it's just nice to go back to old games. I mean, compared to other people's old games, this is a fairly, tame one if you think about it. Because you'd expect that people would make, really bad platformers with hardly any graphics, like hand-drawn graphics, and the physics is all improvised and it just plays horribly. That's usually what you get from GameMaker games when people are kids. I think that I'm actually proud of blockMania, even if it is as lackluster as it is currently. I'm not going to update it, but this was just a nice trip back into memory lane. If you like me looking at my old games, then please tell me to make more of these. I will continue working on commentating on my old games if it gets enough likes and such. Yeah, I know, I beg for this stuff now. You just gotta cope with that. I wouldn't normally do this, but we've reached a point where it's physically impossible not to do so. Okay, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. Bye.